Welcome to this explainer. You've probably seen those iconic historical photographs of the USS Missouri docked in Pearl Harbor, right? It's just this massive steel monument to the end of the Second World War. And honestly, when you look at those pictures, your eyes go straight to those 9 intimidating 16-inch barrels. They look absolutely incredible. But the true story of how they actually functioned, man, it is a total masterpiece of unappreciated engineering. Today, we're going to look at exactly how these World War II battleships managed to hit targets that were literally completely hidden beyond the curvature of the Earth. Okay, let's dive into this.
First off, to really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of the math we're about to get into, you kind of have to understand the scale of the projectile itself. The 16-inch shells fired by the USS Missouri were absolutely enormous. Just one of these shells weighs 2,700 pounds. Think about that for a second. Picture that standard sedan sitting in your driveway right now. This single piece of ammunition is literally heavier than a full-sized car. And these guns were built to hurl that massive weight miles and miles across the ocean.
But how far across the ocean are we talking? Up to 26 miles. To put that extreme distance into a perspective we can easily visualize, that's roughly the distance from downtown Chicago all the way to the Indiana state line. Now, if you're trying to shoot at something 26 miles away, the target isn't just some tiny blurry speck on the horizon. Actually, because of that sheer distance, the target is completely invisible to the naked eye. It's physically hidden behind the curvature of the Earth.
Now, you might be wondering, how in the world do they hit it? You probably assumed it was just a matter of extreme luck, right? Or, simply firing enough steel up into the air until something eventually connected. But here's the hook. The crews on these ships weren't guessing at all. There was absolutely no spray and pray happening here. They were actually relying on a mechanical brain to perfectly solve 8 simultaneous physics variables in real time. No way, right? Let's break it down.
Section 1. 95 seconds of physics.
To understand why this was, hands down, one of the most sophisticated machines ever built before the digital age, we've got to look at what happens once the shell actually leaves the barrel. When firing at maximum range, a 16-inch shell spends approximately 95 seconds just flying through the air. That's nearly a minute and a half where the shell is entirely disconnected from the ship, completely unguided. There are no fins to adjust its course, no remote controls, zero GPS. The second that trigger is pulled, its destiny is entirely handed over to physics.
So the crucial point is that in those 95 seconds, the enemy ship isn't just politely sitting still waiting to get hit. If an enemy vessel is traveling at, say, 20 knots, it's going to travel nearly 2 entire miles from where it was when you initially pulled the trigger, which means you absolutely cannot aim at where the target is right now. You have to predict exactly where it's going to be a minute and a half into the future. This is what we call the lead calculation. And because the enemy is constantly changing course, changing speed, dodging, this math requires continuous unrelenting updates.
Section 2. The invisible forces. Okay, but calculating movement on a flat 2D plane, that's just the very first layer of the problem. Remember, this shell gets fired on a massive parabolic arc, climbing to an incredible altitude of 36,000 feet. That's literally the cruising altitude of a modern commercial airliner. And up there, the environment just goes wild. First off, the air is significantly thinner, which changes the high-altitude drag and fundamentally alters the shape of the entire trajectory. Then, oh boy, we have the Coriolis effect. Because the shell is airborne for nearly a minute and a half, the Earth is quite literally rotating beneath it as it flies. If you ignore the planet's spin, your shell is going to miss the target by the entire length of a football field. And then, throw in spin drift, which is this lateral movement caused by the rifling inside the barrel that slowly pulls the shell to the right. You stack all of this up and you have a compounding nightmare of variables that would completely break any human mathematician trying to figure this out on paper during active combat.
Which brings us to the most fascinating question of this entire explainer. How on earth do you calculate all of this without a single microchip? Seriously, how do you process high-altitude drag, spin drift, the curvature of the Earth, and enemy speed back in the 1940s without a single line of digital code or a single transistor?
Section 3. The mechanical brain.
Well, the answer was hidden deep inside the ship, way down in the plotting room, inside a desk-sized analog computer known as the Ford Instrument Company Mark 8 Rangekeeper. Inside this Rangekeeper, mathematical relationships weren't code, they were physically embodied in solid metal. The exact physical position of a gear represented a specific number. The rotation of a specifically shaped cam, that represented a mathematical operation like addition or trigonometry. It's wild to think about, but it was literally math made out of moving metal parts.
Let's walk through the exact sequence of how the crew actually operated this marvel. Step 1, they had to measure incredibly specific inputs. For instance, they measured the temperature of the propellant powder. Why? Because hot powder burns faster and increases the muzzle velocity. They even tracked barrel wear, because every single round fired shaves off this microscopic layer of the rifling, which slightly alters how the next shell is going to fly. Step 2, all of these crazy inputs, wind, air density, ship speed, the Earth's rotation, were fed directly into the spinning gears by operators manually turning dials. And finally, step 3. The machine crunched all that physical data, and the output shaft sent the final mathematically perfect elevation and azimuth directly up to the 134-ton guns on the deck.
And this brilliantly illustrates a concept you rely on every single day without even realizing it. The Rangekeeper isn't doing some alien math, it's doing exactly what your own brain does. Think about it. When someone throws a baseball at you, you don't reach out to where the ball is right now, right? Your brain's visual cortex instantly performs a neurological lead calculation to place your hand exactly where that ball will be when it finally arrives. The Mark 8 Rangekeeper was just doing that exact same human instinct, except it was doing it with 12 tons of steel, flying across 26 miles of open ocean.
Section 4. The Honest Truth.
Now, as much as we can marvel at the genius of this machine, we do have to be intellectually honest about the absolute limits of mechanical computing and unguided projectiles in the 1940s. Because despite all of this incredible engineering, the physics simply had a ceiling. During World War II testing, the expected hit rate at 17 miles was actually shockingly low. We're talking only about 2.7%. The machine itself was brilliant, but there were just way too many unpredictable atmospheric changes over that kind of distance. It actually wasn't until the 1980s, when the Navy upgraded these massive guns by adding modern radar to measure the exact muzzle velocity of the shells in real time, that the accuracy was truly perfected. With that digital radar assist, they were suddenly able to put 14 out of 15 shells perfectly on target at a range of 19 miles.
But honestly, those later 1980s upgrades shouldn't diminish the achievement of those 1940s engineers at all. It's probably best summarized like this. The Mark 8 Rangekeeper represents a moment where human engineering pushed mechanical computing to its absolute limit to solve the physics of the horizon. So the next time you see a photograph of the USS Missouri, don't just look at those massive barrels. Remember that those brilliant spinning gears hidden deep inside the hull are what truly gave those guns their power.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. If solving for 26 miles with mechanical gears blows your mind, consider the extreme ballistics of the modern era. Today, we aren't just calculating for a ship moving at 20 knots on the water. How do you do the math to hit a target moving at 17,000 miles per hour through the upper atmosphere? Just think about the kind of digital brains required for that. I really hope this deep dive sparked your curiosity about the hidden mechanics of history. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.